So, hi everybody and welcome. This is our Unreal Engine 5 starting guide for absolute beginners. And what I mean with that is it is not an overview. It is really the starting point, how you start and use Unreal Engine 5 at the beginning. When you first time open the launcher, you see the screen. What we have here right now is where I double clicked here on the Epic Games launcher, and this window is then popping up probably with this one with news. And from this point on, I want give you a explanation how you can start. This is not the absolute right way. What I mean with that is there are many different ways how you can start and different approaches, because every person has a different requirement. Okay, so enough talk for that. Let's get started. So I explain again the start situation. First of all, you have downloaded from the internet, from your search engine, Unreal Engine. You installed just the launcher version, and then you have this icon here on top, and then you clicked on this icon. You have made an account and all these things with Epic, and then this launcher pops up. So and then you are interested in game development, but there are also other categories, for example film development and visual arc or virtual reality is coming to augmented reality. So there are many different options now too, even sound, and so don't forget this one too, music videos and so on. But in this tutorial, to make it a little bit more easy, we just concentrate on game development, and the other categories are similar. Okay, so you want to make a game. So you have downloaded Unreal Engine, and now you are asking, okay, what I'm doing next now? And you probably also research perhaps a little bit about Unreal Engine. You know that Unreal Engine is actually an engine, which means it provides you some functionality, so you don't have to create the game from scratch. I hope so far you know it. So that's why you use a game engine, right? Okay, but what is the next step now? So you know you don't have to create all from scratch. That's nice, but yes, what do I do now, you're asking? And here is the first thing what I want to show you. We have here on top on the launcher categories. The news categories is at the start perhaps not so important, because it is just a news block what comes. You can read it here, featured content from Epic and so on. This one changed of course all time, depends on when you watch it. And right now you can see when I record this video, Unreal Engine 5, it's not released. It's on preview 2, and it will be released in some months. But this launcher here is still the same. So that's a side note. So we are talking. So then the second category, what you can see is here's a learn section. That sounds very interesting for people who want to start. Then we have a marketplace section. This one we skip, library we skip, and Twinmotion we skip. So interesting is you can go, for example, to this learn section, and then let me show you what we have here fast. We have here a documentation section on top. When you click on it, then a website with the official Epic Games documentation page pops up. You can see it here. Here we have it still for Unreal Engine 4.27, because Unreal Engine 5 is not released right now, but later you will just select here Unreal Engine 5. Here it's still on early access. This will be updated, and if not, Unreal Engine 4 documentation will work most time too, because Many features are still taken from Unreal Engine 4, and there are added some new features to Unreal Engine 5. This will work too. This is also a very good side note, so you can use Unreal Engine 4 documentations and YouTube's also YouTube tutorials or other tutorials in the internet. You can use them all too for Unreal Engine 5 most time, not all time, because I said there are some little changes, but this will point it out. Okay, let's continue. But this one helps us not much as a beginner. I mean, when you watch this, for example, there is Unreal documentation. The problem is this documentation is a general documentation. And what means a general documentation? It's a documentation for all things what you can find in Unreal Engine, and that's much. You can find very different systems, components, and so on and so on. But as a beginner, actually, this all to read makes no sense. Okay, we skip this first. Then we go to Unreal Online Learning section here on top. Let's click this too. Let's watch this one. These are videos you can select for later. Instead of going to YouTube or on the internet on blogs, you can use this site. This is the official Unreal Engine. And here, for example, you can watch this a little bit through. You can see I did nothing. That is a very bad example. And yeah, but you can of course go here and then find here, for example, in the content library, many examples how they explaining you something here, path, or what they're explaining here. They are explaining this, and then here music system and all the different systems. But we have here again a problem as a starter. And what is this problem? Yes, they are explaining actually all systems again, and as a starter that makes no sense. So real, well, I mean, it's nice and good to find later all systems, and you probably will search only in which you are interested. And yeah, that's a problem. Here, interesting, here on top, when you read this one, content library, here are all, it shows some different categories. For example, we have here games, architecture, automotive, film, and so on. You can all find here anywhere. So, okay, let's say this is nice and fine for later, but at the start, it works not out, because yes, this is nice to have, but where I start now with that when I have so many options? Okay, let's skip this too. Then we have here community wiki, interesting. And when we click on this one, you know, a community wiki means just some like Wikipedia and so, and then you can read informations in text form, and then you click there. I don't know where. Let's click here. What is that? This is the old one, UA4, but I think this one is not very useful at start too. Let's skip this. Okay. Okay, this one, the first line is very important here, but it's too general, right? As a starter, yes, they show all documentation pages, they explain all the parts, but Unreal Engine is big, right? There is big. Where I start now? Let's watch here a little bit more. When we go down here, we can see get started with Unreal Engine 4. That sounds not bad. When I click on this one, for example, let's get started. That sounds really good, right? Get started. Absolute perfect topic as a beginner. And then you open up, for example, this page, and then you can see here again some categories. For example, we have here level design, quick start, artist, programming, tools, Unreal Engine, so on terminology. So, and here's some quick starts. Important here, remember this word quick start. This is interesting because it means they will give you a fast demonstration which you can follow along. Let me show you this. I click, for example, on this quick start, And then I can scroll down and follow this step by step, first required step, and then you just read and do exactly how they show it. This one is again Unreal Engine 4 documentation. They will probably update this version, but it's similar. Unreal Engine 5 is similar to Unreal Engine 4, so it will probably only update it where the new features are and so on. Okay, you can follow this step by step. Here you go down, finish the first step, and then you go here down, finish the next step. But actually we have here a problem too. Okay, it says, let me show you, start. Okay, very nice, get started with Unreal Engine 4, and it shows you the different categories. And this one is somehow a good point, but also a bad point. Why it's a good point, why it's a bad point? Because it is still too general, right? As a starter, okay, I have here a quick start. You can test a little bit level designing, you can test a little bit programming, and you can test here a little bit artistic work. It's not bad. So you can see this one is the right way, but it is still not. Yeah, as a beginner you say, okay, interesting, there are so many things to do. Okay, we just remember this place here. I will show you later something here, and let's go here a little bit more. Then you watch perhaps this was the same actually. Artistic, quick start, level, designer, quick start. This one is this side is related to this one here. Let's go down here a little bit. Then we have here virtual reality. If you are interested in this one, okay, as a starter, absolute beginner, perhaps you even don't know. Okay, nowadays everybody know what virtual reality is, at least. And then we have here volumetric fog. Actually, as a starter, perhaps you don't know what this means. And background blue widget, these are already words in programming and use case. And then when we scroll a little bit down, we see here engine feature samples. Yes, and then you, as a beginner, you see many more things. These are more particular things. And then you are saying, okay, all right, how I start now? So when we watch this one, the best place where we can go was actually to this place, right? But I said it is still not okay. Why? It is too general. So what is the problem? The problem here, to solve it's very easy. Before you go here to any of this one, but this one we will use, before you go and select one of these quick starts, you have to ask yourself a question first, and this one will determine probably how you start with Unreal Engine. And the question is, oops, that was wrong. And the question is here, before you start at all, I am more there are three main categories, but a little bit more. I show you now, or I explain you now the three main categories. So you ask you the question, I am the person who likes programming, or I'm the person who likes designing, or I'm the person who likes for example, music and creating audios, or there are some more categories, animations and films, but this one we skip. We just keep it simple here to explain it. So you are asking yourself at start these three main questions, and then you decide where you go. This is one way to go, because if you're not doing this one, you have a problem that you jump around and there and so on, and later you don't know what to do. Let's say you say, I like design. Okay, then you can click again, for example, this get started with Unreal Engine, or you can right away go here, start artistic quick start, or level design is actually also design. Perhaps you will watch this both quick starts, but you can skip this programming quick start because this determines your starting point, right? And let's click and let me show you this again, how you can go and approach. Okay, I want artistic. Okay, you say I want, okay, I want to make this level. I want to learn design. I start with level design. Then you can make this design, and then there are many more related design tools. Let me show you this too. Let's go here to the documentation or to the Unreal Online Learning. First, let's go to documentation and you say, I'm interested in design. All right, so, and then you can skip. Okay, there are basic tutorials. Perhaps you can watch this too because basics are really basics like it says, but there are something you really don't need. For example, programming, no. Media, no. So you can start to skip many categories because you are going to concentrate here on this documentation. You can start, for example, level design. We read this a little bit. Level, you write level design it, you search, and you get here documentations about this one. If you find something, actually we find nothing here. Content examples and so on. This documentation you'll use later more for specific search things. Then you can go for, this one is probably better. After you made this one, you can go for Unreal Engine Learn videos. For example, this is the official one, and then of course you can go on YouTube, on blogs, and so instead of going here, you just select then here your level design. I don't know, what is this? Constructing believable environment, for example, something like that. And then I made it too just for testing. And then you can go and watch a video like this. For example, here, this is the official version. And here you are going to concentrate then early on this one. So I think that's enough for talk. The very important thing at start is you just ask yourself, I'm interested in programming. Yes, no, no, good. Then you ask yourself, I'm interested in design. Yes, no. Okay, or you ask yourself, I'm interested in, let's say, music, audio, and all this stuff. And after you answer this question, then you concentrate only most time let's call it so. You concentrate on this path, but you will probably still need a little bit programming, little bit audio, and so on your way. Because some basic programming you need to create, some basic programming you need even in design, for example, materials. And I show you that, perhaps I show you that fast, what I mean with that. So let's continue here. So you ask your question and said, I make a concrete example. For example, in my case, I said, I am interested in design. That's not really true. I was a programmer and I have no clue about design, but let's say I'm interested in design. Now, how I can approach this? Like I said before, you start perhaps with artistic quick start, level design quick start, but and there was one more tutorial, basic. There were anywhere here basic, anything with basic. All right, so the next thing is, what you do is you click here on this launcher. Then one way is you follow a tutorial or a quick start block. But in this case, I don't show you what I'm going, all the steps, but because it's a waste of time, I show you how you can now approach if you are, for example, interested in Designer. One way I showed you, just go here through this quick start, which is really a nice way. All time when you read a quick start, it's a really nice way to check. But also if you are not interested in programming, for example, you can really go check this out if you are how to do it, perhaps if you are interested, why not, and see perhaps you are interested in this one. And like I said before, later you will need basic programming. But let's continue a little bit. So we have cleared at this point what kind of a person we are. And I said, let's say I am a designer. I want create assets, make materials and textures and levels and environments, but I'm not interested in programming. That is the situation which I defined myself right now. So then let's say I have watched this one. I double click now on this launcher, and then what happens then? Where is that? And then our Unreal Engine 5 is opening. Then I go to games, and now I follow normally a tutorial. And at this tutorial, they say what you have to select as a designer. You can select one of these templates, which you should do at start, for example, this third person template, and they explain all this kind of stuff here too. So I skip this because I want only show you how you start. Let's say I follow this tutorial. They say I should select this third person template. I select it. Cool. I set this up. Very cool. I set my project name. Absolute perfect. I name my project name, my project, my learning project, for example. And then I follow the tutorial, and I just created. I just at start, I know nothing. I just follow the tutorial or the quick start, right? At start, you don't know probably know many words. And the best thing is, don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's normal. This is a very important note here too. Make mistakes as much as you want, because it's normal. That's the way we learn anything. But not just make the mistake, just learn from the mistakes, which means you should try to solve this mistakes. So, and then you follow the tutorial, for example, and they say, okay, I'm a designer, and what should I do here now? Let me show you before we go on what I mean with Unreal Engine is very complex when you have not a direction, right? Let me show you a very short, I try make it fast. So if you have, for example, not a tutorial at start, or you don't know the direction, what I mean with that is, let's say you want to make coding, you want to make design, you want to make films, you want to make animations, you want to make all what Unreal Engine have, then you will be overwhelmed, and I show you why. Then let's say, first of all, you say, I want to make animations. Then you jump to the animation section, and where is that? Oh my god, I don't know where they have the animations. I forget this. Anyway, there is anywhere here in the view animation section. Oh my god, I need to find, I don't know where. Anyway, let's make it this way. Let's jump to the coding sections. You say, I want to make coding. Then let's click here to the starter content. And in starter content, I click, for example, you have perhaps not even a clue what this all things means, and you follow this one. You click here blueprint because you heard this is coding or something, and then you see something like that and get shocked because, and you say, okay, what is that? This is blueprint coding, nice, nice, nice. And then you see all these options at start. Okay, the first thing probably what you do is close it because you have no idea, and then you jump to animations actions. Let's go there too, why not? And you know, for example, for the character, and there you have this where is this character? Mesh, why you are not here? All time have to search. Let's do it this way, it's faster. So and so, oops, and so jump in, right? And here then you go to this character sections. Oh my god, here you have again a graph section, you get again a shark, and then you go to the mesh section, find the blueprint section, and then you jump to the blueprint section, and then you have here animations. You open this one up, and then you are shocked because you have here again a new editor, and you don't know how to use this blueprint editor now. And then let's jump more a little bit here around like hell. Then you go here to this different modes, and then we select this landscape mode, and then oh my god, what is that? I can create now a landscape, and then you have again no clue what is this foliage mode, and so on and so on. You see what I mean? The point is, the problem is at start you can have selecting here so many different areas. And as a beginner, it's really hard, and they make all the same mistake. I did it too, that I jump all because I'm interested and I want to test it out to all these different areas, right? And that is a big mistake, because then you realize the systems are so big, so much, that you can't learn them very fast and very... yeah, you are overwhelmed, really. That's the problem. And then let's... okay, we saw now, okay, I see I need... then you realize I need a proper strategy, probably, and I said that is the point where you should realize it is better to concentrate only at one area first. If you're a designer, which means a designer in this case means, for example, creating a box like this, right? A designer make this too, because he create this asset, this mesh here, it's called, and then he create this color. This is most time material or texture, and then applied, and all these steps or this level here, what you can see here, the wall, and so this is level designing. This one is asset designing, so this only one part. And so then you say, perhaps I concentrate first only on one area, and even so it is still a big area. For example, creating design is also a very big area, but the good thing is when you do this one, you skip all other things. For example, like I said before, you skip, first of all, this one is actually designer things. This one you will not skip, but you will skip a lot of things what you can see here. For example, I go here to the audio file. All what has to do with audio you skip. Let's go architecture. This is design. Blueprint, creating blueprint. Perhaps you don't skip this, because not really. You can skip this too and say the programmer should do this. Then you skip all this back HDRI setup. Perhaps you don't need that. Maps creation, it's very easy that you don't skip this one. You will learn, for example, as a designer, material creation. Yes, this will be one tutorial which you have to do as a designer. Particle, you can skip. The particle system, FX system, can skip all. Props, this is your job as a designer. You can make assets or model this one. So and you can see the point is, when you concentrate at first in one area which you like most, you can skip all other areas. But there is then one problem, you may ask, when I learn, for example, now only creating this one asset here, for example, in our third person tool, let's talk this one here, and say I have created this couch here, right? So you have created this couch here in a third person program, for example, Blender is free, and then there is Maya, 3D Max, and so other ones. And you imported this here, you have created this one, and then you probably say, okay, and how I make with this a game now? I can place it in the level, and this will be not a game. So the question is, you will ask yourself later, but to create a game, I need audio, for example, sound, music, and so I need probably coding. And later you will say, I need all the other things what I skipped. And actually, that's true on a certain level. But what many developers do at start is they not all, they try to learn all, which is bad. Not bad if you have time, of course. Let's say 2, 3, 4, 5 years, no problem, you can really learn all and try to do them. But if you have, let's say, less than 2 years time, then many other developers do the approach that they are concentrating, for example, like I said, only on design, but they have to get now all the other things too. And how you get this one, and then you probably know it, there is a marketplace called, you go to the marketplace and then you can use the free assets, you can buy assets. As a starter, of course, use the free assets. So for example, you are a designer and you designed this asset, this couch here. Now you want, when this level starts, let me start this level, this one comes by default, this level. Now you have put your car, what is that, your chair or whatever here, and now you want that this level has also sound, which means in our case, let me draw this here up, you go to a pack. It is called, for example, a starter pack. It is free, provided by Epic, and Epic will provide much more free materials, assets, which you can use as well. Here, for a demonstration purpose, I take here the sound, and let's take, which sound, doesn't matter. Let's make the music sound, perhaps. Do I have here a music sound here? Yeah, let's say I have no clue about sound. I put this here in my level, I start this, and you can hear I have sound now. Yeah, I made not this sound, I don't created this sound, but I have it now. And this is the way what all developers goes at start. All things you get from free assets, or you buy them on the market store if it's a good one, you like one, and so on, and you add them to your level if you can't do this. And yeah, will be many things you can't do. So I think that's the main thing what I would suggest you to do, is concentrate on one area. I made here a little bit of demonstration with a designer. If you are a programmer, it's the same. Then you are creating, for example, blueprints like this, and then as a programmer, for example, you have no clue, for example, what materials are, how to create them. You have no clue what, also no clue what effects are, no clue what audio are. You skip this all, and all this kind of stuff you get from the marketplace. And let me show you this too, how you would get this from the marketplace. Because okay, you're concentrating only on one field, you skip all other systems at start, you follow a tutorial, that's the best way, start a tutorial, basic tutorial, and then you're chosen path, for example, a designer, programmer, audio, and then you find a related tutorial to that one and all other things which you didn't learn so far, you will get for free or buy it. And let me show you how to buy this or get it free. We use the free version at start. Never buy at start something, because it is better to use all the free stuff and get used to it, and after you have a fairly understanding how to use all this free stuff and how to manipulate it, change it, then I would go to a higher one. But let me show you where you can get these things. Here on the tab on top with our launcher, right? We are back to our launcher. Here on top we find, for example, Marketplace, but I think they have integrated this here anywhere too. But let's make it here. It's the same because I don't know where it is right now. So you click on Marketplace. All right. And then we have here the Epic Store Marketplace. And here are categories you can choose. And the most important category for a beginner starter is probably this section 3. And then you can see Epic Games content provided by Epic. Then we have mega scans. This is absolute interesting and really cool. These are high quality textures and photogrammetry materials and assets too. And then we have free for the month. This is special. Here are provided assets every month, and you must take it within this month. If you don't take this within this month, they disappear. But then we have here permanently free collections, which means this one, say here all time, and Marketplace collection. So let me go first here to the permanent free collection. This one you will have all time. I click on it, and let's say I'm a designer, and you can see here are already provided things. Here, for example, we have VFX, which means effects. And I said you have not learned perhaps FX, then let's click on it and watch a little bit. And you can see we can use this effect instead of creating our own and wasting time. We can try to use this one, and we have free effects. Very nice. And the next thing is, let's see which we find more. Here we have environment. For example, a programmer would go for a low polytone, or here we have again effects. A programmer would also go at effects because he can skip this if he's not going to do this. Here we have a creature, environment, and here we have a build system, for example. That's also very interesting. For example, a designer who wants to integrate a build system, and here quest system. For example, this is something, again, a designer might be taken because this quest system is most time a programming thing. Because you program this quest, how to get this, how to talk, and this is provided by any programmer here, and designer can take it, integrate it in his project, and so on, right? You see what I'm going to talk is you get all the other things which you don't know for free and test this out. And let me see what we have here. Here are more something like so. There anywhere it's a creature again, and we have here weapons, and so I want to show you. I think we have music here too anywhere. Yeah, we have here vocalization, human vocalization, and music is anywhere here too. Anyway, let's continue. Okay, this is the free. There are characters, and this is one what I want to show you. The next thing is, let's go back to the learning section. Yeah, I think that's more or less it what I want to talk in this video. So let's wrap it up again. The first thing you should do is ask yourself what person you are, right? If you like programming, then concentrate more on programming tutorials. Or if you like more design, then concentrate more on design tutorials. Or if you like audio, then concentrate more on audio tutorials. And then from that point, you start to get used to Unreal Engine. And then you can go to create some example games, for example. And then you will also see when you create this example games that you will probably need a little bit knowledge of the other category, not much, only how to use it. For example, how to use an audio file as a designer, how to use a blueprint as a designer, and so you will learn also a little bit there, and there are other categories, but the start point should be the thing what you like most. That's my recommendation, and then you can work your higher and higher from this point on, and all parts which you don't know get for free from the marketplace. Or yes, there was one thing more, you can of course buy later if you have more knowledge. Then you go to the normal marketplace and you can see you can buy later you can buy what you need. For example, let's see what we have here on new releases. For example, you can see there are most time artists here. That's not true actually, but you see there are many assets, characters, and so on. But there are also blueprints and animations and so on. And you can sell them as artists here on the marketplace too. That's very interesting. For example, you don't have to create a game. You can just go to the marketplace here and then try to sell it here for other gamers, developers, and so on, like they do here. And the last thing what I wanted to say is there was one more thing. I think if you get, let's say you are a very good designer, you concentrated in designing, level designing, and you not only basic, let's say you go to intermediate and then you go even high level, professional level, but only in design, then you can try to do that what many do later, many professionals do later actually, and then you can try to join a group, right? And that is actually the industry, let's say the industry standard professional level is everybody is concentrate not in all categories. They have their own special categories. For example, you are a designer, perhaps a level designer, then or an modeler, 3D modeler, then they are asking special for this person, but of course they're asking not for developer who are on a basic level. They are most time asking for developer who have improved their level design to a very high level, and most time they do this because they just stick with one thing and then they join these groups, right? This will be then more a professional approach. Most time when you see one person tries to do all, these persons are indie persons, and it's possible if you have enough time. So don't underestimate this kind of person, but they need much time because they are doing all, right? Programming, creating assets, creating this and this, and most time they are doing, let's say, not so big projects. On the other side, when you are concentrating on one thing and join a group, of course, it's called then the principle divide and conquer, which means everybody make their part and together we make a game much easier, much faster compared to one solo developer who have to do all by himself. And that's why they can also make much bigger projects, but they have other problems. And this is more the, let's call it, human relationship problems. For example, don't forget, a solo indie developer, that's also very interesting. A solo indie developer has much work to do if he's doing all by himself, yes, but his responsibility is on his own. He don't need to talk with others. He can plan his money, and he can try all on his own. On the other side, the professional level, the industry level, for example, when you go late in the game industry, who has let's say 10, 20 and so on people, they need a very good organization. They need contracts. They need many more human related things and talks, because management, it's management, yeah. And this can be very difficult for beginners too, because at start you should probably concentrate trying to make games, or as a designer, for example, trying to make things like that. Probably the person who created this, I'm not sure, is perhaps also just one designer who created only characters. He's trying to sell this here on the marketplace, and also at the same time, of course, this is a portfolio for him. It's not just selling, he is just showing what he is capable of, right? Later, when he is, for example, applying for a group, he can say, I created this here, I tried to sell this here on the marketplace, for example, and yeah, something like that. Okay, back to the topic. As a starter, I would say just concentrate on one thing and then follow these tutorials, and then you will anyhow go to the other places. I talk too much, I know, but yeah. Talking is good. Better talk at start much and make not the mistake, because I did actually crap at start. I was the one who jumped from one place to one place. Let me show you what I mean. This is very important. Don't make this mistake. I think I jumped to all categories, which you can see here, just to learn the textures, shapes, props, particles. So all these things, I watched this, right? So, and when you, what I mean with watching that, when I double click on this one, for example, this FX, you see we have here again a new system, and then you have learn a tutorial all about this system. Let's click here again, materials. Let's double click here. Then if you are learning materials here, again, you need to learn all the material system, how to make good materials. The base material I learned. You need just one node and one texture and connect it. But this kind of stuff is a little bit more complicated than, not complicated, more work, because then you need to learn about textures, normals, and how to create them. And this takes, again, much time. And yeah, I don't know if this is good for absolute beginners. I wasted a lot of time. It's not a waste. That is a wrong word, because it's not a waste. It's all time good. I spent a lot of time, but it take me right now more than 4 years. I mean, of course, when I say 4 years, don't think that I worked every day on this one. It's more like I worked a little bit every day, or in a week, for example, 1-2 hours or 8 hours, depends on how I felt during these 4 years. So because I had other things to do as well, not just here trying to develop or learn Unreal Engine. So, and this case can happen to you too, right? So if you have less time, just concentrate first on one category, design, programming, audio, or filmmaking. This is also very interesting. Animation, or just 3D modeling. One more word to 3D modeling. There are of course things which you are not doing here directly. I think that I forgot to mention. For example, 3D modeling, for example, this chair, you would rather do on a third-party software. For example, I mentioned this before, Blender is a free one. You can create this chair in Blender or Maya 3D Max, but the problem is you have to learn Blender then. You see, then you go to Blender, you learn 3D modeling there, and then to use it in Unreal Engine, that's actually not that difficult because you just import this here. And then the only thing what you learn here is how to use this or how to level design this with this chair. For example, how this chair should be placed in your level to make a very good appearance or its function and so. But actually you learn then more. For example, in my case, I learned a little bit Blender, how to model a chair. This chair, it takes again a lot of time. The same goes with music. You will, let me show you that too. You will not create music really here directly in Unreal Engine. For example, if this is a wave file, you will create this music outside in our third-party software. For example, you can create it with a music program, or you can even record it here. Like I have here a microphone. You can record your own music if you are talented. Why not? It's absolute your music. You can make sounds. Here I make a clap clap, something like that. I record this, put this here, and the problem is you need there a little bit equipment. Then you need of course the third-party software, the music software. For example, let's say what I'm using, Audacity I use just for cheap recordings here. When I want, for example, my voice, I would use Audacity. This one is right now OBS for recording this YouTube. This is another software. But what I want to point out is you need in other categories other software, and you have to learn there. And the only thing what you learn then with this music files is how to use them here in Unreal Engine. This is, let's say, the smaller part, because learning the software to create music, it's a profession itself. To create, let's say, to model, right, and learn, for example, the whole Blender system, it's a profession itself. So it takes a lot of time. And that is the reason why I say you just concentrate on one part and then watch the tutorials, and then it becomes easy. Even if it's so complex at start. I think I talked now too much. Let's stop here. Yeah. And I hope it helped a little bit. I hope it's not that you're not confused more than before. Okay, bye.